species to survive and thrive. But that same ability to think ahead can sometimes go into overdrive, creating a relentless stream of anxiety about events that haven't and might never come to pass. To begin addressing this, it's important to understand why we worry about the future in the first place. Worry often comes from a desire for control. We think if we anticipate every possible scenario, we can prevent things from going wrong. But here's the paradox. Worrying too much doesn't give us more control. It gives us less. When we focus excessively on what might happen, we often neglect what is happening right now. Life unfolds moment by moment, but when you're preoccupied with the future, it's like trying to read a book while skipping pages. You miss the story entirely. Worrying about the future can also be tied to fear of uncertainty. Many of us find comfort in predictability and routine, and when the road ahead looks uncertain, it feels like standing on unstable ground. But life, by its very nature, is unpredictable. Trying to eliminate uncertainty is like trying to stop the wind. Instead of fighting it, we can learn to embrace the unknown as part of the journey. After all, some of the most beautiful experiences in life arise from moments that we couldn't foresee. Another critical point to consider is the impact of worrying about the future on your well-being. Anxiety about what's to come often pulls us into a cycle of overthinking, where small concerns snowball into catastrophic what-if scenarios. This mental habit not only drains your energy, but also takes a toll on your physical health. Stress hormones like cortisol surge through your body, affecting your sleep, digestion, and your immune system. In essence, the worry meant to protect you ends up harming you instead. What's crucial to remember is that the future isn't an enemy to be defeated. It's a canvas waiting to be painted. And you don't need to have the whole masterpiece planned out in advance. Sometimes the best art comes from spontaneous brushstrokes. Shifting your perspective in this way doesn't mean ignoring potential challenges. It means recognizing that worrying won't solve them. Preparing for the future is valuable, but preparation and worry aren't the same thing. Preparation is action-oriented and constructive. Worry is passive and draining. Another key to easing future-related worries lies in focusing on what's within your control. There are countless variables in life, and many of them are beyond your influence. You can't control the weather, the economy, or other people's decisions, but you can control your actions, your mindset, and your reactions. When you start to distinguish between what you can and can't change, you free yourself from the mental burden of trying to manage decisions. These fears, while understandable, don't reflect reality. They're just projections of our anxieties. And the truth is, no one knows exactly what the future will bring. We all face uncertainties, but part of what makes us resilient is our ability to adapt to whatever comes next. When you find yourself spiraling into worry about the future, it can be helpful to ask yourself a few questions. What is the worst case scenario, and how likely is it to happen? Often, when we break down our fears, we realize they're not as inevitable as they seemed. You might discover that the worst case scenario is either extremely unlikely or something you can cope with if it ever does occur. This realization doesn't dismiss the challenges that you might face, but it does put them into perspective. You have the resources and inner strength to handle adversity when it arises, even if it takes different forms than you expected. Another way to shift your focus from worrying about the future is to actively cultivate gratitude for the present moment. This practice isn't about ignoring the future, but about reminding yourself of the positives you have right now. I've covered this in other videos, but gratitude helps reframe your thinking, allowing you to see your current circumstances in a more balanced light. It's incredibly easy to get caught up in what might go wrong, but taking time to reflect on what's going well can reestablish a sense of balance and peace. Additionally, setting realistic goals for the future can help you channel your energy in a constructive way. Rather than letting your mind drift into worrying about everything that could go wrong, focus on small, actionable steps that you can take today. By breaking larger goals into manageable pieces, you not only make the future feel less daunting, but also create a roadmap that empowers you. It's about creating forward momentum without losing sight of where you are right now. It's also important to recognize that the future isn't something we have to navigate alone. Sharing your concerns with others can be incredibly grounding. Talking to friends, family, or maybe even a therapist can offer a sense of reassurance and perspective. Often we discover that the things we worry about aren't as insurmountable when we express them aloud and receive feedback. You may even find that others share similar worries, and that shared understanding can lighten the burden. Sometimes our fear of the future comes from a feeling of not having enough time. Time to achieve our dreams, time to fix mistakes, or time to fully experience life. In reality, we often overestimate how much we need to accomplish in a given time frame. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. because everyone's journey is different. The only comparison that truly matters is the one between who you were yesterday and who you are today. The progress you've made in your own life is what counts most, not how you measure up to someone else's version of success. Embracing your unique path will help to alleviate much